All right, and we are right back. Now, this is going to be an interview that will focus on from on-prem to cloud, the resurgence of data storage strategy. Well, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to admit that our moderator is, of course, a well-researched professional. Ms. Sheena George, partner EY India, would be joining us, and she will be in conversation with, as I said, an IT industry stalwart who's been mentoring the CIOs of India, ladies and gentlemen, and the one who's been surpassing the era of streamlining and sustaining the operational processes, and has been foraying into areas of business analytics, product and service, innovation, while improving the efficiencies across the value chain. And I think he's a people's person, so let's all gear up and share some tweets, share some posts as we welcome this visionary and a thought leader who's all known for his pleasant demeanor. Let's welcome Mr. Rajesh Uppal, the Senior Executive Director, HR and IT from Maruti Suzuki. And Sheena, with that, it's over to you.
Thank you so much, Shikha. Warm welcome, Mr. Uppal. It's an absolute honor and a pleasure to be able to talk to you today and have you in this interesting discussion that we are coming up with.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome, sir. I'm going to dive straight into the discussion. So the pandemic made it a necessity to shift our business models for several enterprises, either to drive efficiencies or faster go-to-market initiatives. And what that has done is in turn opened up a plethora of digital transformation initiatives. Rajesh, would you say that this is true for Maruti as well? And would you like to talk us through some of the transition that you underwent due to or post the pandemic?
Thanks, Sheena, for having me here today. Yes, you're right. I think the pandemic made digitalization process faster. And though the whole canvas has been fairly big, maybe let me talk about a couple of them today. And we go forward, maybe we can talk about many more in our conversation. First and foremost, I think post-pandemic or even before pandemic we started was that mapping the whole customer journey into a digital platform. Now, how we manage the whole customer journey end-to-end on a digital platform and how much we can do it on digitally. Our marketing team worked on really mapping that whole journey and found out there are almost 26 processes where customer get in touch with the dealer or OEM for buying the car. And over the period of time, we really digitized or connect almost 23 of them. That, something like the physical test drives and all could still be required to be done, kind of thing. But other than that, maybe of 23 of them we could have on digital platform doing that, or getting all the data from all those interactions, whether you are doing on browsing on the net or anything around that. So with the various initiatives, we could connect all of them into a single view of customer to know that how offline experience and online experience could be managed seamlessly for a customer. Now, the whole initiative like hyperlocals or digital platform for working for our each and every sales person in the field, or our territory sales manager or regional managers, and everybody around, with the right kind of application to have with them to really get right information to interact and be personalized with the customer when they talk to him. So this journey was underway. So post pandemic, I think the adoption became very fast because this was the only way available at dealership to manage our customers, and that really made fairly the whole comeback process post pandemic to a much faster and much quicker to do at our dealership. So that was the one big change we could see that happening around. And second was auto industry was always seen to work from office. You come to office and work and think, when unlike IT companies were there and all. But I think pandemic made us to work understanding with various kind of workloads in the company to work in a very hybrid mode and all. Yes, for manufacturing you have to come to factory. Maybe for testing and all, you have to come to a factory for all the test equipment around. But lots and lots of roles we could find that which can work in a hybrid mode. Even the people on design who works on big screens and large data around could do from their anywhere they feel like to do that and all. So the whole establishing the whole process of working from anywhere in our industry was another big change we could see in our industry, and we could really implement that in a fairly seamless way and fairly secured way to do that and all, because you had a lot of secret information within the firewall used to be there earlier. We could manage through various processes to do that and all. So looking at the whole pandemic, I think what I see is adoption of these kind of things become fairly fast and fairly implementable, creating large amount of value, large amount of efficiencies and effectiveness in the organization to do that. And that has been my experience in running that through in the Maruti Suzuki.
Thank you so much, Rajesh. So, like you rightly said, what a transformation and to be able to work in a hybrid model in a manufacturing industry and mapping 23 customer journeys to completely digitized format is an outstanding example of how transformation has really accelerated in these times.
And also, just to add to that, we could also come up with some new business models using this digital over there. Like, we had a lot of customers who could not get financing from the finance companies around with lack of some documentation. So we came out with the subscription services as to our customers, which has been very successful for us, which is entirely running on a digital platform and being done from there. We came out with a finance marketplace for our customers so that you can manage with large number of banks, you can get right kind of loan available to your requirement from the marketplace and all. So not only the customer journey, but I think new business opportunity could be created using digital. Was one big change we could see that actually.
Outstanding. Thank you so much, Rajesh, sir, for adding that critical part. So you all also, created an ecosystem, I think larger ecosystem for your consumer, where you integrated with banks and other subscription services to make that process of a buy much easier for your consumer. Moving to the next question, Rajesh, sir, the other thing in the manufacturing sector that you had to deal with is that on the one side, you have to find more industrial automation opportunities, but on the other side, you did have, challenges with an integrated and connected supply chain during this period. And the third leg to this is that demand is still buoyant, right, in the midst of all these shortages, supply chain shortages. So how is technology an enabler to address some of these challenges, Rajesh, sir, from your point of view?
Okay, Sheena, I think I'll take this question into different parts of this to handle that. One very clearly is the uncertainty part. The automotive is always a long tenure supply chain and all, where your orders go 3 months in advance, and you have very fixed, rigid kind of production plans to work on, and your plan for next 15 days are frozen, and you work on those kind of way of working. But I think with this whole uncertainty coming on, which component, when will be available and all, I think the whole agility in your production process with all the ecosystem working on that, so that, in a very short interval, maybe in a day time or 2 days time and all, you could really change your production process, get all ecosystem synchronized with that and all, and then you can maximize your production based on the availability. But one change I could see that moving from the traditional rigid way of working to a very flexible way of working in our And second important change which I see through this whole pandemic time, a big learning is whole concept about risk management. You have a large amount of your ecosystem working around that and all, and then are your risk management system to really well documented, IT automated, to ensure that you have early warning signals coming to you and all. You get all the suggestions on what alternatives are available to you to work on that and all. Act on the alternative to make sure that you minimize the whole disruption to your businesses. I think a big focus change on this aspects of the business is one big change I could see post-pandemic, that focusing on those systems to manage the whole risk with respect to your business and with respect to your processes is one big change and all, which also required a lot of mindset change and also required a lot of technology interruptions to really make sure that those integrations are available to you to manage your business, uninterruptedly. It was a big change. I could see that.
Right, right. And specifically to address, this integrated supply chain, how is technology playing a role there, Rajesh? If you could throw some light.
There are multiple ways, this technology plays a role in that. See, one is that your whole supply chain is totally connected. One side is your whole customer side, where the demand at each level are real time visible to you to manage and take action on to your production plan. So that it's totally visible to you how the demands are changing, which models, which variants, which colors, and all, so that we can really change your production plan to manage that. And to other side, on your demand side, on your supplier side around, again, integrating your production plan. In fact, we work on not only a production plan with respect to the numbers we produce, we even go up to level of sequence on which we're going to produce and all, and we connect our supplier and make them visible the sequence in going to produce, so that he can plan his production also in our sequence of production. So that it's just in time and real time synchronizing the both their production plan with our production plan. So getting those technologies interfaces to really manage that kind of seamless integration and any disruption, syncing it back to the rest of the suppliers so that you can balance your whole supply chain, has been again technology infrastructure to manage to do that or not. And third angle, which is little offline to this, is whole ability to really forecast for you in future. Based on the various parameters in the industry, your ability to get right kind of forecast for various products you have, whether it's the vehicles with the spare parts required, which is again a large volume for us. Now, how do you really manage the whole right kind of forecasting and understanding the noise versus real demand, and get down to really understanding the whole requirements, and then plan your long lead time buying to sync with that is another, and you manage that with the optimum inventory. I think has been a big change. We could see that implemented in our industry to take right action at right time to manage the whole supply chain correctly.
Thank you, Rajesh. So if I can summarize both parts of your answers, the first part was on the business side, and basically, the uncertainty, the agility required during this pandemic to change your business model to be more flexible rather than the traditional rigid way has been a major transformation that you talked about. And there's been a lot of focus on the risk management and the use of technology to bring down that risk element, right? The other side of the conversation, when you talked about the integrated supply chain, what you're looking for is real-time visibility of demand, real-time integration with a connected ecosystem, and the third part you spoke about is the ability to forecast accurately, because that's very critical during this juncture when you have supply chain shortages anyway. But thank you so much, Rajesh. So that was very insightful. I'll move to the next part of the question. So to be able to do all this, you would have invested in technology, right? You might be maybe on a hybrid cloud strategy. You may be having a data lake. So maybe you can give us a little bit of insight how Maruti's digital journey is like. And also you must be being asked the question as to how you're deriving ROI from these investments. So two parts to this question, if you can throw some light, Rajesh.
Sure. I think we are having a solid enterprise architecture available to manage all those applications, whether it's the back-end transaction applications or the platforms on top of it, maybe a data lake platforms or IoT platforms or your automation platforms and to manage that and all. I think those are the technology pieces which are being implemented, has been implemented to ensure that we deliver that to the users. But on ROI front, I think the approach now and has been with the new technology around is always been start small and then scale it up based on the business value. Run some strong POCs in business areas around, show that, okay, how much value you could create that and all. Maybe in most of those initiatives on innovation, the value return you get on investment is less than a year, frankly. That has been my experience on running those innovation projects in the company around to handle that. So start small, get that whole business value from the investment you had done, and then scale it up to really manage that in the whole enterprise to look at that. Maybe start with the one plant somewhere and all, scale it up to other plants, start somewhere into the one area around to scale it up to do that and all. But have very clear focus on the return you are getting on the investment to work on and all. Maybe do and really cloud help you a lot to do this kind of work, scalability, which traditionally was not possible to do that at all. So I think that has been an approach to see to it that you manage this whole scale up very quickly. Add to that, I think we also run a very strong program to work with the startup ecosystem, which again works on the same cloud platform to work with us. We run a very strong program called Maruti Suzuki Mail, where we invite startup companies work with us. And in last almost 2.5 years now, a large number of startups, almost around 18 to 20 startups are working with us, creating very new age solutions for us and being adopted, starting with the POCs and becoming our vendors to implement that and all, and parallel scaling it up to ensure that those open innovations in our organization get adopted at a much faster pace when we go along, is the whole supplementary part of this and all. End of the day, each investment we do, each startup we work with and all, the problem statement is very clear, the business value. And in the whole stage of POC or implementation, do we realize that or not is always the focus to work on kind of thing. So very clearly on ROI front, these projects are always done with respect to that. Are we really getting enough returns to manage within that time frame we are planning for? Is the way we have been working on.
Great. Thank you so much, Rajesh sir. And I think that's a good guidance to those of us here who may be starting on their journey. Start small, have achievable goals in smaller time frames, measure that whether that business value you envisaged out of that investment has been achieved, and then scale it up. I think that's very good wisdom shared.
Yes, one more point, Sheena. I think on this note, again, I think large number of this project we could discontinue post POC. That okay, it doesn't make value to us and all. So I'm not really wasting so much of resources to do that frankly.
Absolutely. And I think that creating a startup ecosystem to do those POCs is a great idea of harvesting knowledge and also infusing innovation into everything we do. Thank you so much, Rajesh, for sharing with us. I'm going to go into another different element of it, and you're coming from both IT and the HR space in your organization, and it's a great combination truly. So I wanted to focus on the human element of all this transformation that we're speaking about, because as you know, that is very important to make some of these initiatives successful. It could involve team upskilling, reskilling, other change management initiatives that comes into it. Maybe you have trade unions and other challenges to deal with. So maybe you, Rajesh, you could share some learnings and insights from that.
Important change I can see happening in the whole digital platform is, unlike earlier ERP days where you create a product and then give it to somebody to use it and he start entering from day one. But on digital initiatives, I think capability to consume becomes a major element. So unless you create that capability within the organization to consume, these digital initiatives can never be successful factory. So I think looking at that fact in place, we started working on the whole capability development in the whole organization, not only digital, but the way people capability get developed in the whole organization was changed. No more classroom exercise and all. And today, we run a leadership development program running for over the weeks together on a digital platform for all our senior management and the junior management people to really run on a platform to ensure that we get achievable evaluation done and also the goal which we have set up for that project, we get that and all. So learning also got transformed from a traditional way of learning to a very hybrid way of learning, both with self-learning tools, with certification target given to employees to do that, so that we have those people can do that, or the hybrid way of learning where most of the classes are happening in the web mode, but maybe once in a while they meet together to discuss issues around to handle that and all. So the way the whole training is being done, I think we could achieve the very hybrid, and a good thing is you can cover large number of people. The whole team you can cover together in the digital learning, so that in earlier days, for after learning, everybody speaking same language used to take years together and all. When the you can't take everybody out for learning together to do that, and also it used to be a long-term process. Here, everybody is spending maybe 2 hours together in learning once in a week, so that the whole everybody going at the same pace, and we are getting into the whole capability development exercise parallelly. So the much shorter time to really get everybody speaking on the same language in learning, and so on and so forth. So the way learning is being democratized or used in the organization is changing. And the way evaluations are done for people is changing now, to that while you're learning, the evaluations are going simultaneously along with that, which has become very seamless and very integrated to handle that. And also the need assessment part of it, and working on that. So the whole life cycle of learning is becoming so-called digital enabled now. And that's something which is helping us to really be very effective in our learning to handle that, including people at workman level now, because everybody is onto the app to work on a platform to work with. Like we run an app called Wellness Mitra, which is used by all employees now to report about their health and report about the health of their family onto the platform. And if they are green, then only they're allowed to happen there. But we integrated the whole learning also along with that to handle that and all, so that you while you're consuming that every day, maybe you also get a learning bites also along with that to handle that, whether it's a safety for the workman to go out and do that and all. So I think learning at all places in digital, I think, is a new way which got or getting used in all our companies. Right?
Thank you so much, Rajesh. So that was very interesting. Thank you for sharing those snippets with us of what you're doing at Maruti to take the people with you along with you in this digital transformation journey. Thank you so much for your time, and it's been a very insightful discussion. Over to you, Shikha.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sheena, and thank you, Mr. Uppal. Appreciate the interview discussion between the two of you. I think very driven indeed. Thank you for sparing time and being with us, and request you to please be a part of our remaining hours of the summit as well. And with that, for all my avid learners, my delegates, this is just a quick breather for all of you to quickly visit the Experience Zone, visit the Software One booth, and gain some more insights out there. Fill in those main feedback form that's rightly designated in the bottom tab of your screen. Engage in networking, because after that, when you come back with me, we'll request you to lend your ears to the Reddington Smart Framework and Solutions session for IBM Cloud. We will be right back.